Hey, it's Scott from Aristocob.com here.
And Seth from the IJustShavedMyFace.com.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Together, the three of us, we are Markwood Men's Breakfast Club, and we are outside in the tent once again. In this case, though, it happens to be hot and sunny. It's not nighttime like it was last time we were out here.
One of the reasons we decided to film in the tent was because we thought the sunlight would be helpful. And then we closed all of the walls of the tent.
Not all the walls.
There's no sunlight in here.
We're getting light
from
we
were thinking
almost three sides here.
Yeah.
My shop is really hot, and we have grandkids asleep in my house and grandkids asleep at his house. So we decided we would just go ahead and shoot out here. I leave tomorrow morning for a week in Louisiana and Texas. Then I get back on the weekend, and I turn right back around and head out for another week in Las Vegas. And then you're gone, right?
Mm. Yeah, my family's out of town next week, going to Kentucky, and then I'll be spending the majority of the following week in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Really excited about melting someplace other than North Carolina.
So we have a special guest with us here today, and you probably already noticed because I imagine we mentioned that in the title of the video. But with us today is a fourth member of the Markwood Men's Breakfast Club. Good morning, Jay. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. How are you fellas?
We're good.
Doing well. So if you don't know, Jay has a little channel. Your channel is it simply Dighsx? J Dighsx. Is that right?
Yeah, but if you search for Dighsx, whatever it is, it'll come up.
Okay. Do you have a URL that, like in my case, a vanity URL?
Yeah, I think it's Dighsx.
Okay. That should work.
Yeah.
Well, the reason we asked Jay along here today, actually, the topic of discussion, Boy and I had decided we would talk about today anyway, and that was crowdfunding. And among the various forms of crowdfunding is Patreon. And Jay this weekend launched his Patreon account, and I thought, hey, this would be great for us to get together and talk about this together, since he is on the other side. I have only been a patron on Patreon. Seth doesn't use Patreon, but he uses some other crowdfunding. And we thought this could be fun. And also there's been a little bit of pushback, and we should talk about that. So, hey, Jay.
Hey, how's it going?
Where are you right now?
I'm in Northern Michigan.
Ah, okay. Are we in the basement?
Yes, we are. Yes,
Very
we are.
good.
The den.
Watch that last step.
Yeah.
You should tell everyone about your internet connection, because I'm amazed that we can even see you right now.
Yeah, I've got it's 1.2 down and about 0.3 up. And it's really, really slow. Like if I upload like an 18-minute video, it's about 15 to 20 minutes per minute to upload. And that's, it used to be not as bad, but everybody went to 720p and greater. So if I shoot in 720p, and that's with me compressing the pants out of the file ahead of time, so like I'll have a 2 gig file, I'll knock down to 200 or 300 megs, and it's an overnight adventure for me to get a video up. Yeah.
I remember those days from a long time ago, but I upload everything straight from my phone now. I very, very rarely take a video from my camera or phone and put it into a computer and edit. I do the editing on YouTube. For those of you who are putting videos on YouTube, if you didn't know this, they don't talk about it much anymore, and I don't know why, but if you go to youtube.com/editor, all of the videos that you've uploaded, including your private videos, are all there for you, and you can trim them, you can group them together, piece them together, which is what I do. I may shoot 2 or 3 or 10 little snippets, and then I'll piece them together right there on YouTube, and then it then creates a single file that is available to you. But I upload everything from my phone now.
Well, see, the problem with that for me is that the file size of the raw video is too big. So if you film something and it's a gig, that's a day, to upload it.
So
that's crazy.
Is there your phone data also slow?
No, well, depending on at the house here, it's slow. I'll get 1 to 3G at the house, but if I go maybe 10 miles one way or the other, I can get 4G. But, I think I've got 4 or 6 gig data limit per month. You know what I mean? And so it kills you. Back when I first came up here, I had T-Mobile and I had unlimited data. And boy, they regretted that.
So let's talk about crowdfunding. The first crowdfunding I ever heard of was Seth had introduced me to Kickstarter, and that was several years ago. And I forget who it was that was doing something on Kickstarter. Do you recall that first one? It was some tech item that somebody was.
I think it was Square.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The little tile.
It was Tile.
It was Tile.
Yeah, Tile, not Square. So Square's the. I don't know. I don't think Square was a Kickstarter. Square's the card reader, but it was Tile, the little Bluetooth keychain fob that will alert you. Basically, you can put it on your keys. You can put it on anything, and it tells you where your keys are. It makes some noise, and
so it's like the Apple Find My Phone.
Yeah.
But it could be anything, any tool, any bag, whatever. And you bought a couple of those, didn't you?
I only bought one, but see, the nice thing about Kickstarter is usually if you are an early adopter taking the risk, you can get a discount. They're getting, because they're trying to build a reputation, you get it less than what the full retail will be when it's released.
Well, and you're helping them recoup their launch costs, right? Maybe their tooling or whatever they have to do to get that first batch into the country. In most cases with technology, it comes in from China. And then from there, I've done at least a half dozen Kickstarter things. Rhett and Link did a really funny episode where they were talking about Kickstarter for the first time, and they found some guy who had invented this weird game that you play on a golf course. And basically what it was is a giant slingshot that was made out of PVC pipe. And you could fire your ball down in the golf course. And then the end of the thing was like a giant putter. So you'd walk around with this big stick. It would function as a walking stick, but it was also this. And they said, let's blow this guy up. He's asking for $2,000. Let's just bombard him. And then they did some follow-up with the guy, interviewed him. And he was just an old dude who had this idea. And it was such a neat thing that the community got behind this guy and just made his day. Fast forward then to Patreon, and a number of the YouTubers that I am super faithful to started putting a Patreon logo on their page. And I've purchased some of their swag. Jimmy DiResta, I bought one of his action figures. And I bought he printed on an old printing press that he brought back to life from a scrap heap. He printed these, if it looks straight, it is straight, little signs. And to me, I absolutely love that saying, so I bought that. But since then, I joined his Patreon support group.
So let's real quickly just talk about what is Patreon. So Patreon, if you don't know, before the days of Patreon, YouTubers, and even after, YouTube monetization would allow some YouTubers to earn a little bit of money off of ads that are running in the middle or before their video. But it requires, and has, as YouTube has grown as a platform, it requires a lot more videos to earn the same amount of money. And then recently, a lot of companies have pulled ads from videos, so ad revenue has dropped even further. So we're talking...
Wait, can you explain that?
Sure.
Some people refer to that as the adpocalypse. Right. And I've used that term too, but what was that? What happened?
So specifically what happened is the Wall Street Journal ran a story about the #1 YouTuber, PewDiePie, and some videos he had made. PewDiePie had, in one of his videos, gone out to the website Fiverr, where you can pay people small amounts of money to do very menial tasks. And a lot of the people on Fiverr will do things like dress up. He had one guy dress up as Jesus and say something silly on video.
I use Fiverr for our little Cobb Foolery seed packets. I needed to take that old picture of the Missouri Meerschaum factory and superimpose my wife and I in front of that sort of American Gothic style. And I just couldn't master Photoshop in time to get this thing done into the printer. So I jumped on Fiverr and connected with the guy in who knows where, probably Pakistan or India or someplace. And he whipped it out in just a few minutes and responded really quickly when I needed to have a change made to it. To me, it was a wonderful experience.
Oh. So what got him into trouble is one of these Fiverr things. He paid $5 or $10 to some young guys and paid for them to write on a sheet of paper and something, a phrase, and then make a statement.
And they were not English speaking.
They were non-English speaking. The statement was death to all Jews, I think. And then he had them sign it, another YouTube channel. And so he was doing two things. First of all, he was just being ridiculous and thought that there's no way this group will do this. Right?
Well, because their ad said, we'll do anything for $5. And he's like,
so
really?
He's going to push that envelope and thought there's no way. And then the other thing is he was goofing on this other YouTube channel. And they did it, and he posted it in his video. He's like, I cannot believe that they did this. Well, for posting that, the Wall Street Journal called him out. They also found some other videos, and it blew up. And some advertisers said, we will not advertise on YouTube because our Coca-Cola ad is running beside this statement about death to the Jews. And, Coke wasn't happy about that. And so it has created this new system where YouTube ads are not being paid out at the same level that they once were because Coke and other companies are not advertising as much on YouTube as they once were. All that to say, from the very get-go, YouTube ads, you had to have 1 million views before you would start getting any sort of ad revenue. It's a ridiculous number of views and subscribers. And so as a response to that, Patreon launched. Patreon allows artists, including YouTubers, to set up an account and allows viewers, fans, people who appreciate the art to give either a one-time donation or a recurring donation to their favorite creators as a way to help them offset maybe the cost of paints if it's a painting channel or costs of editing time, or really just a way to help support their favorite creators. It's hard for someone with a low view count to get an ad, a midway ad from Coke, or to get support from a big company to help. And so, people that like what a creator does can help support them in that way.
Could you imagine if the Aristocob channel, and by the way, the only reason the Aristocob channel exists was to support my business. I started the channel after beginning my business. And another little side story that I don't think I've ever shared before, I had gotten into a lease of a building to put my wood shop in. And where you see us sometimes recording is my shop. And I pay a monthly rent on that space. My wife freaked out. Like, so how are you going to pay for this? The problem was there was no way for me to pay for that through building things in the shop because I just traveled too much. There's no way to guarantee I could produce enough goods to offset that lease. And I said, I will sell corncob pipes and I will cover the cost of that lease. So Aristocob.com, and actually the precursor, which was Aristocob on eBay, was started to pay for my wood shop.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why it exists. But imagine that my show or channel had ongoing content that was valuable, that I wasn't selling pipes and things like that, and viewers valued that. They might want to find a way to support that, especially if I was saying, I don't know that I can keep this up, or I can't keep this pace up. So I think Patreon's neat. So I currently sponsor or support or am a patron of 6 patrons. And then I'm a part of something for Izzy Swan. He launched his own unique standalone thing that's not on Patreon.
So, I think about it in terms of sometimes movies, but I think maybe a closer parallel may be your favorite band, right? If you have a band that you really enjoy, you are likely to buy their next album release, CD. and then you might buy tickets to a concert, and you might buy merchandise when you're at the concert. If you only kind of like them, you might buy the CD, and that's okay. And if you're fairly indifferent, you might listen to them on the radio and like the stuff, but not pitch in.
Patreon, you might like just the one song on.
You might like the one song.
Just the one song.
That's right. Patreon works in much the same way. So you can jump in at different levels of patronage, where you may give $10 a month to someone who you just love what they do and want to see more. You may give $5 or $1, or maybe just a one time, or maybe none, and that's okay. Because the great thing about Patreon is, in many instances, these creators are still creating public content. You really just allowing them to create better content and making their lives a little bit better as they do it.
That brings us to Jay.
Yeah.
Why did you launch a Patreon?
I don't know. This whole thing's starting to sound like an infomercial.
Well,
well, the main reason I did it was because I'm at a crossroads in balancing my YouTube stuff and my normal life. And it's getting harder and harder to produce the kind of videos that people want because they cost money. My most viewed videos and the ones I get the most feedback on are project videos. And I get a lot of comments about, private messages and whatnot of people saying, hey, when are you going to get to this project? When are you going to get to that project? Well, like everybody else, I've got an electric bill and a mortgage payment and all that stuff. And, you have to balance, some months you don't have money to spend on the extra stuff. It's just the nature of the beast. And so after a lot of thinking about it, I decided, well, maybe people, if they're so inclined, would want to chip in some money to support these different projects and to do that kind of stuff and to make things happen faster and to maybe help the channel grow and get out there more. Because if you can create content that people enjoy and want to watch, that then gets you more viewers and more subs, and it kind of starts feeding itself. Well, you hit a certain level like me where you're around like 7,500 subs, you're not making any ad money, especially now. I mean, I make next to nothing. So this is all just money that I can sneak by the boss, basically. And the other thing, and I'm not complaining about this, but to do like I did the mother of all giveaways, where I gave away 12 different things for a guy. I paid all the shipping on that. I did that freely of my own free will and accord. I'm happy to do that. But you do that. You do Secret Santa. That costs me money. You do
for years. You did that.
Yeah, a lot of these things that seem so effortless, and I'm happy to do. I don't want it to think like I have any kind of grudge about it, but it's not free for me. And as the economy tanks, and as some of my work life has slowed down a bit because of either health or just because of the market, you start to feel that squeeze, and it's just the nature of the beast. And so my thinking was, and especially after talking to some people who encouraged me to do it, Scott, that, maybe there would be people who would want to do it. And so far in 2 days, I think I've got 15 people who I'm grateful that they're willing to spend their hard-earned money to help me. The thing that has surprised me a little bit, I knew it was going to be a little bit of a touchy subject, was some of the pushback I've gotten on it. And some of the people who have come out of the woodwork to kind of be like, I don't know, to assume like I'm trying to rip somebody off. And I'm not. I'm going to keep making my videos as long as I can afford to do it and I have the time to do it. I'm going to keep making the stuff I always have made. Nobody's getting a paywall put in front of my channel or anything like that. You're under no obligation to support it, just like any other channel that has Patreon.
Well, will you have some content on Patreon just for your patrons?
Yes, because they're paying me money, and I want their input on things. So I might make a video to float an idea by them. And I have, I think of my one reward level, I'm going to have a monthly video for those patrons. And, they're ponying up their own money. They deserve a little bit of my time special for them. But I'm not going to shaft my channel either, because that would be myself in the foot.
Is that so? That's extracurricular. You're
Yeah,
gonna
it's
do
it's on
something.
top of that, and it's only been 2 or 3 days now, but there's a little community forming over there, and it's kind of nice. Like one of the projects I have coming up is making a tool cart, like for a parts bin for my shop, and so I did like a little sketch of what I was thinking and posted some pictures on there and say, hey, what do you guys think? And I got some good input on that, and that helps shape the video and the project that's coming. And
Right.
there's been some good sanity checks by people over there like, hey, I'd think about this, or you might have to worry about stability or different things. And that's kind of nice to have a group that can help you. Or like I did a video about this was last week about defining your reality. I post a link over there. It's public over here on YouTube. Well, some people gave me some feedback over there, like that they liked it, or they've applied it in this way, and that helps me see what's working and what's not working. So they pay a little money to get a little behind the scenes access. But I'm not shafting. Nothing's changing anyplace else. And like I said, you're not obligated to do it. I'm not trying to scam anybody. I'm not forcing anybody to do it. I'm not going to change anything. And that's, I think, the thing that surprised me the most is that people felt, I think, that it was some sort of scammery going on, and there wasn't.
Let me ask you this then. So exactly how are you scamming us, Jay?
If I told you that, I wouldn't be working, would it?
Yeah, you're not supposed to ask that question.
Yeah.
Not to ask questions like that.
Yeah. If I was smart enough to scam you, I probably wouldn't be making YouTube videos. This isn't a money-making venture. If anybody is thinking about making YouTube videos, I mean, you get to a point where you either have to really, really like it and have some disposable income that you can spend on it, or you kind of have to give up on it. Especially with project stuff. If it was just talking videos,
Right.
if I was just sitting here, doing like the videos where I, throw out some crazy idea or show you in the wood, that really costs no money. But when you start doing project videos and people say, hey, when are you going to work on your Willis? And I'd like you to do that, and like just recently I had an unexpected expense of like $1,500. Well, there went my project budget, and that was to a good cause, and I was happy to spend the money. But, things happen in life and it gets tough.
So you mentioned that it's the project videos that get the most interest.
Yeah.
I may be the only person. I mean, maybe not. Leave a comment if you're one of these people too. I'm not going to be restoring a Jeep or any other car anytime soon. I'm not going to be installing an LED light bar on a snowblower anytime soon. I enjoy your storytelling and your humor and just your conversational style. So I'm one of those people that I listen to you because I find you interesting. So
I
to me,
appreciate
it wouldn't
that.
matter if you were sitting and smoking on your porch, but I understand that there are some people that watch you because they want to see you chipping away at those projects, which you do. So are you planning on having a set schedule of output? Like, will there be once a month there'll be something new on the Jeep, and once a month something in the shop?
It all depends on how my personal stash of money for all this goes, and how the Patreon thing goes. I mean, I've been purging a bunch of things I own to try to generate some capital for it. But I'll try to. I don't know. I haven't really come up with a fixed schedule on anything. I mean, I barely can tell you what I'm eating for breakfast tomorrow, let alone what I'm doing the rest of the time.
I wonder if some of the people that are hesitant to jump into Patreon are looking for a firmer, I don't know, what's the word, a plan, a commitment, what is their return on investment going to be, for example?
Well, I mean, you'll definitely see more project stuff because then it'll become easier to afford it. Like a good example is I've been shooting a video where I'm working on my Tahoe, which I know to some people is not the thrilling, but the main point of the video is, and I'm giving away stuff, but that's fine. The main point of the video is there's a bolt on this thing that the previous guy who worked on it rounded over. And I took on this project thinking, oh, I can change a wheel bearing. How hard can it be? And then you slowly sink into this quicksand of a project, and it gets scarier and scarier because currently the Tahoe cannot be driven. And currently the boss is like, what have you done to our car? And now, thanks to Patreon and also purging some stuff, I was able to go out and buy a set of bolt extractors for rounded off bolts. Now, I got that before all this, but it makes it a lot easier to go make that tool purchase.
Okay, yeah.
To then show this in the video. And the whole point of the video is not only really me fixing it, but to show you that you get into something and you got to kind of have to keep the faith, and maybe to inspire people to take on things that they don't think they're capable of. Like, I'm not going to lie, in the middle of this project, I was crapping my pants because I'm like, what did I get myself into? But you just hang in there, and you can a lot of times achieve more than you think is possible. And that's what a lot of times in my project videos, if you've watched them, I have generally no idea what I'm doing. It's either through lack of planning or lack of skill or whatever, but I like to show people that a regular dope like me can take on stuff and you can achieve it. And that's one of the things I talked about in my Patreon video, is that most people, the thing that stops them from taking on things is because they've either convinced themselves they can't, or they've been tricked into believing they can't. And you can do so much stuff, and you just have to get out there and kind of have a little courage and a little bit of insanity and go after it. So by having some extra money coming in through supporters, I can then make videos like that that maybe help show people that you can do more things and you're capable of more, So it's kind of a twofold thing. You're going to get the people who want to see a guy make a light bar, but you're going to get the other people who just enjoy hanging out and maybe can get a little inspiration from seeing a guy do that. Maybe some people aren't going to go out and buy a welder, but that doesn't mean they won't think like, hey, I could probably do, and then they go off and you don't know where that seed you're planting is going to go. And the point I'm at is to keep doing that, I need help. And so that was my whole point of asking for supporters. And
so you kind of hit something there that I'm not sure that people who are not using Patreon, they may not know this. When you jump into Patreon and find somebody that you want to support, or even if, like in my case, where I've been on Patreon for a couple of years now, if I find someone new to support, when I commit to supporting that person, nothing happens until the beginning of the next month. So you just launched this weekend. There's money there that people have promised you. You don't get anything until
I'm seeing
the month rolls over.
Yeah.
So people could, and I think maybe even have, they can jump in and go, you know what? What am I thinking?
Yeah.
I don't want to give it that.
And you can
level.
stop anytime you want too.
Right.
It's not like you're signing up to a 12-month contract or anything like that. I mean, And like I can't stress it enough, and you guys have hit on it too, no one's obligated for any Patreon supporter. No one's, most of these creators you see on YouTube that do that, they keep making the videos, they keep making their content. It's not, they're not putting up a wall between you. Now you might get some perks going through Patreon, but they're still doing what they're doing.
Right. I love what Jimmy Dighsx does, and another one that I sponsor is ClickSpring. Jimmy Dighsx, though, is really cool in that he'll have a video that he's working on. Usually they happen to be his vlogs. And maybe a week ahead, and a lot of channels will let you a couple days ahead see the video that they're going to post on Tuesday. Well, Jimmy will show you some of his raw footage, and I think maybe it's just him doing like a trial run of the voiceover that he's going to do. He gives you a little bit of that backstage stuff, and I imagine that the comments he gets help to guide him in his final edit. I mean, I've seen them where they are things like, oh, that was really cool, that drone footage. Can you show more of that? Well, hearing that before he's done with his editing, he can show more of that. Or, boy, the drone footage really droned on. I think that's a great way of using a tool like Patreon. Not that you're using it that way, but
if I had faster internet, I might.
So with the Patreon, I've never used Patreon, but from the comments you guys have made, I assume, is there some sort of back end chat system, or is there like a message board as part of supporting your channel? Posting pictures.
Yeah, you can post pictures and videos and whatever you want over there, and then
you can or I can.
I think either one of us can.
You're right. In the community tab.
In the community, if you're a supporter, you get access to that whole world of that. And I think I even had a guy post a video about some stuff he was doing.
You did.
And that's kind of cool to see. And like I said, the people, I think I have 15 right now, and it's been a lot of fun talking to those people and getting to know those people.
It almost goes back to the early days of video responses. A little bit.
Yeah.
Bit. That's cool.
Now, as a whatever you call you, a creator, Jay has the ability to put a video on YouTube, set the visibility of that as private,
right?
Take that link over the Patreon, and when he links it on Patreon, and again, there it's got to be a link specific to that video, he can say at what level he wants that to be visible. So like some of the folks that I am a patron of, I am not at their top tier. And so I see that, Tim Schmoyer posted a video on video editing, and I don't get to see it. Maybe for this month, I'm going to go ahead and bump myself up to that next tier, and I can do that. And I have, in his case, immediate access to all that stuff. I'm sure there are folks that scam that and jump in and out of the different levels. But then there's also, I know others that do like drawings, and they'll do like a monthly drawing, and many of them are figuring this out, and they're saying, if you want to be in the July drawing, you have to have been a sponsor beginning back in June. In other words, you've actually sponsored me at that level to be in the drawing. It's like, that's actually pretty smart.
Well, and I think the real question and maybe we can't answer it, but the real question and the elephant in the room is, why in the world should anybody support somebody on Patreon when they could just watch all this stuff on YouTube?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the question I've really wrestled with, and that's, I'm probably shooting myself in the foot asking that question, but that's really the question is, and why in the world would anybody support anybody on Kickstarter or GoFundMe or any of those? I mean, that's really the $1 million question with all of this.
I think that's true. You're right. It's harder with a YouTube video because the idea is that you're going to get it for free anyway, right? So why would you buy anything that you buy? It's because I want it. I like it. I want it. But with YouTube, you're going to get it anyway until you don't. And I think that there is an entitlement mentality sometimes that we feel as consumers of especially YouTube content, because in general it's free. It's always there. It's at our beck and call. There's an entitlement that we deserve that content to be here. We deserve it to be the same thing that we always want it to be and like it to be. And, the reality is at any time, any of us who make videos could just flip the switch and never post again and just walk away. And I know that anyone who has posted videos with any sort of regularity has felt that stress, has felt that temptation of why am I wasting my time? Right? Is this really worth the time investment, the hassle of doing it? And most of us get pulled back in. Either we take a break and then come back, or we decide, no, it's worth it. But it makes it easier. If it makes a difference between you maybe not being able to make the video that someone loves, and being able to make not only the video that someone loves, but being able to do it more frequently, do it better, because it's taken some stress off of you. If someone loves that, why wouldn't they invest a little bit in that? It's something that no one is immune to. I was telling Homer, the King of Random recently got into a load of crap because he was collaborating with some people that many of his viewers didn't feel represented the values of what his channel has represented. And they're like, why are you wasting your time doing a video with such and such person? And he did like an hour-long explanation video of like, look, here's the deal. Right? This has now become bigger than me. I now have employees. I need to do all of these other things if you want this to continue. And if you don't, that's okay. It won't.
Yeah. I mean, and that's that really is the truth of it.
He got hit by the Adpocalypse. I just got a bunch of smoke in my face. But he pointed out that his revenue has dropped. And so, one of the things he's changed is he has committed to, instead of backing off and making fewer videos, he now makes a video every single day. And there were people who were saying to him, well, why don't you just put out one a week that's just epic? And he has proven through his analytics that if he puts out a quick video every single day that maybe leads up to something epic, he gets a lot more views. And you know, YouTube is watching not just views, but actual total watch time. That's how those creators get paid. That it's far better and feeds his family and many other families now.
Right. That was the bigger thing for him is he said, you know, the way I was doing it before, I was stressed out and it was unsustainable. I had a panic attack and had to stop. And he took some time off and realized he needed to hire some help because his channel's huge. But he said, you know, in order to keep that help hired and in order to produce content the way that I have, I need to do something. I need to do it a certain way. I need to cater to the videos that get more views. His response, one of his responses was, you know, I get in the comments all the time, why don't you make more big project videos? Because that's what he used to do all the time. He said, you guys don't watch them. You watch the 5-minute long videos like crazy, and the project videos, which are the ones that I love to do, don't get the view.
Yeah. And that's, you know, and it's the unfortunate reality of it is that in the end, it does sort of come down to a business, and a business, you know, business decisions have to be made, you know, and so somebody like that, you know, he probably really enjoys those big projects, but it's just not feasible from a business standpoint for him to do it. And somehow when you turn it into thinking like that, a lot of people get uncomfortable and don't like it because now you're making decisions. I mean, like even in my tiny little channel, if I put ads on my videos, people don't like it. If I do sponsored product stuff, people don't like it. If I do, you know, Patreon, you get some pushback. I mean, it's kind of like, well, this isn't sustainable, both on a emotional time level and a financial level. So how do you want it? And it taps into what you talked about, Seth, where you just want it, and you're not thinking about the logistics behind wanting it. And the other thing that people need to realize is just because you're watching it for free on YouTube doesn't mean you're not paying. Right. You know, they're watching everything you're doing. You know, they're targeted marketing. It's tied into all, you know, if you use Gmail and all that, you're a commodity too. Whether you feel it or not, you are. So don't forget that part. You know, it's convenient, but it's true.
What is, think about this, because my connection to you in this is in the YouTube pipe community, right? Pipe related videos. Your videos do far more than just pipes, obviously. What are some of your more popular videos, and could you choose a different direction than what you have?
Oh, absolutely. I could go ham radio. I'd get way more views than I do now. My top rated videos are all ham radio videos, to the tune of like my number one is my Dark Side of Ham Radio. And I think at last count, that was like 340,000 views.
Wow.
You know, and my other one, I have What is Amateur Radio. I have that one. I think that's over 100,000 views or coming up on it now. I like to
imagine the Dark Side of Ham Radio was like Sharp Knobs.
You should watch it. It's a good video. And read the comments. You really see a lot about people. But, you know, I could totally sell out and do that. But that's not me. You know, I'm not interested in one thing all the time either. You know, and so you get a mix of stuff with me. And that's a crappy business model if you want to get big on YouTube. That's a crappy way to do it, because if you look at all the big channels, they're fairly focused on one thing, and they beat the hell out of that one thing, which is fine. I'm not knocking them because that works, but that's not who I am.
You know what I'm waiting for you to do, Jay?
Yeah.
When are you doing your fidget spinner video?
Never going to get a fidget spinner. I hate those things.
Do you really?
Oh, I think that's the sign of the 4 horsemen or whatever, the apocalypse. I mean, and if you have a fidget spinner, more power to you. I mean, I do silly stuff too, but I don't know. If you've got enough time to sit there fidgeting, there's something wrong with you.
Excuse me. I need to jump
I just alienated everybody watching this. I know. I realized that was probably not the thing to say, but I don't know. We're too itchy.
Your opinion is shared by a lot of people, most of them adults.
Yeah, I know. And I will be very honest. If I had one, I would probably use it constantly, which is also it's the same reason I don't have cable TV, because if I had it, I would watch it constantly.
The same adults who had pet rocks and yo-yos as kids.
I didn't have a pet rock, but I certainly had yo-yos. I mean, I was big time in the yo. Yeah.
The yo? Is that what the...
I was in the yo, yeah. Oh. Absolutely.
Are you the kind of guy who clicks the end of a pen a lot?
Oh, yes, I am.
There you go.
I am. I'm a I'm a fidgeter, but I'm when it comes to learning, I'm a kinesthetic learner. I have to get my hands on things.
Yeah.
But in my job, I have to read. I have to read manuals and even in some cases write manuals. And for me to be able to stay focused on something, I have to have something in my hand. I've only recently gotten a few of these, and they have been a godsend to me.
I mean, they help you focus.
Even just having this thing sometimes spinning on my desk next to me will create a little bit of almost white noise that helps to keep my brain focused. It's weird.
Damn it, now you're making me change my opinion on them.
Hey, man.
Because see, like one thing, like when I work, and it was like this in school, if I was studying, I had to have music playing and fairly loud. And I had people tell me, oh, you know, you're not concentrating, it should be quiet. I have to have that bombarding me. And so, all right, if you have a fidget spinner, I take it back. They're probably
I was the same. Now,
people don't go mailing me a whole mess of fidget spinners. I don't need one.
You haven't seen me sitting here spinning this. It's been out of sight, but because it doesn't have to be conversation.
As long as it doesn't take away from the responsibilities in your life, I'm all for it.
Sure. This one's beautiful, Jay, and it's heavy. It's metal. It's got a rainbow color. The grandkids love it. They love it in part because it's very small, smaller than most of them. And it was less than $4 with free shipping from China on Amazon.
You're not helping.
We'll put the link in the description.
An affiliate link, by the way.
And Jay's P.O. box.
Yeah, crap. I can't win.
Well, I'm excited for you, and I've mentioned this in my video. I mentioned this in comments, and I'm not mentioning this to take credit. Who I was first in line, but I was pushing you to do this.
Yes,
and
you were.
The person who called me Cyrano, or the Steve Martin character from Roxanne, I have nothing vested in this except for the fact I want to see my friends succeed. And it raises all of our ships here. And so, I'm absolutely pushing Patreon. I think it makes sense for us to support the creators who we value. So if you don't want to join Patreon, that's fine. Again, send Jay a fidget spinner.
Don't. I got to go remove my address from my videos now.
I think it's too late.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you'd like to add, Jay or Boy?
Steady as she goes. That's what I'm going to do. Trying to weather the storm. You know, I wouldn't have been being a fly on the wall at some conversations over the weekend, but maybe that's for the best that I wasn't.
I don't know. I mean, that's the whole part of this that I don't get is the whole idea of what happened to just changing the channel if you don't like something. I don't.
They have that expression in ham radio. Turn to die.
I have to hit that thumbs down button, and I'm going to leave a very snarky comment and tell Jay that you're trying to cheat me.
Yeah,
get that.
While the video that you're watching for free is playing up above.
But I value everybody who takes the time to comment and to subscribe, whether positive or negative. And and like I said in my video, I mean, 6.5 years ago, if you told me I'd be sitting here talking about this, I would have laughed at you. When the guy who got me into making YouTube videos suggested making YouTube videos, I laughed at him and said, that's just for crazy people. And so then he started making videos, and then I started making videos, and then here I am 6.5 years later. I mean, it's been a hell of a ride. It's been a real good growing experience for me. If you just want to talk about what I've gotten out of it, I mean, it's been a really good experience in that. I've met a lot of great people, and I've met a lot of people I would have never met.
Yeah.
And I've gone places in this country I would have never gone had it not been for meeting people off of here. So
how were you in front of the camera in that first couple videos that you shot?
I don't know. Go back and watch. They're on YouTube.
Won't you?
Yeah, go back and watch them. I think I did okay. I mean, it was a little awkward. Everybody's a little awkward, but
I want to go back and watch our videos.
I was super awkward. And again, one more bit of background on me. I jumped onto YouTube I jumped onto eBay selling corncob pipes to pay for my shop. I started a YouTube channel because my company, my employer, bought a camera and expected me to start doing videos for training. And I turned that camera on and saw that little red light flashing, and I froze. And I finally hit on the idea, you know what, I have this eBay thing going. Let me talk about that, and I'll post a couple videos that are corncob pipe related. and then that maybe will help me get over my nerves. And it did. And I'm now, I think there's visible 700 and some videos. There's hundreds more that I have hidden because there's no point in them. I'm now comfortable in front of the camera. And they're, again, to encourage some people that are watching who don't think they can do this, but want to. You can do this. The courage comes after you do the thing that you fear. After you cut that rusty hole in the back of your wife's car and make it a little bigger than it was.
I don't want to talk about it.
And why did you shape it like that, Jay? What was
because I'm an idiot. You know, one thing that talking about first videos is you can go back and watch the first video that I have on YouTube. I have the very first video, which was on YouTube briefly about 6 months before I actually started, and I took it down. And I have that video. Someday I should post that up. It's not very exciting.
Share it on Patreon.
Ooh, there you go. There you go. Yeah, I should stick it up there.
On behalf of all of your patrons, we would love to see that video.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. It's not that good.
I look forward to seeing it. All right, Jay. Thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, fellas.
Breakfast Club, and we wish you all the success in the world. Anything you want to add, boy? Boy's like, I can't believe how long this is going.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. We will see you again next week. Make it a great week. Thanks for sticking with us if you have, and if you didn't, then I suppose you don't get to hear about the free pipes we're giving away. You'll see that on our Patreon account. All right. Talk to you guys later. Make it a great week.